is the most recognizable feature in the night sky. Since the dawn of time, humans have looked upwards and gazed at it. As you already know by the title of this video, I'm talking about the moon. And today, I've compiled the 10 most amazing facts I could find about the moon. So let's get started. Number 1. All of the other planets in the solar system could fit between the Earth and the moon. So if you lined up the other 7 planets side by side and measured the length, the total would be around 380,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, the average distance between Earth and the moon is 384,000 kilometers. So it would be a tight fit, but it works. Now, the moon's orbit around Earth is not a perfect circle, so the distance between the two actually ranges from 363,000 to 406,000 kilometers, just depending on where the moon is at in its orbit. So really this only works some of the time, but still it works. And on to number 2. The dark spots you can see on the moon are actually dry lava lakes. Early astronomers thought these were oceans, and to be honest, they were on the right track. Although the moon has no active volcanoes now, several billion years ago it was much hotter and vast pools of molten lava existed on its surface. Since then it's cooled down and the lava lakes have long since solidified, but they're still visible even to the naked eye from Earth. Number 3. The far side of the moon looks completely different than the near side. So as the moon orbits Earth, the same side always faces us, so this is all we can see. It wasn't until 1959 that we got to see the other side for the first time, when the Soviet space probe Luna 3 flew past the far side of the moon and sent back images. Scientists were confused, and to this day don't exactly know why it's so different. Number 4. The poles of the moon are cold. No, like really, really cold. Temperatures as low as negative 247 degrees Celsius have been recorded at the moon's north and south poles. This is actually among the lowest temperatures ever recorded anywhere in the entire solar system. This is colder than the average temperature on Pluto, which is 40 times further from the sun. Absolute zero, theoretically the coldest temperature possible, is negative 273 degrees Celsius. Number 5. The moon has its own calendar. A single day on the moon lasts as long as a month on Earth. So in a year, there are only 12 lunar days. Conveniently, 12 people have walked on the moon, so the 12 lunar days have been named after them. It just so happens to be Irwin Day right now. Number 6. 2.5 miles. That's how far the golf ball hit on the moon by astronaut Alan Shepard is estimated to have traveled. According to Shepard, the ball traveled for miles and miles, and he probably wasn't wrong. Physicists have estimated that the ball may have traveled as far as 4,000 meters, or 2.5 miles, and remained in the air for several minutes before landing. And number 7, there are hundreds of moon trees planted throughout the United States. These are trees grown from seeds that were taken to the moon aboard Apollo 14 in 1971. Now, unfortunately, the seeds remained in the orbiter. They didn't actually get to land on the moon. I know, that's kind of a bummer. But many of these trees are still alive today and stand as a living testament to human accomplishment. Moon trees were planted at schools, parks, and civic buildings, and you can even find one in Brazil and another in Switzerland. Number 8. The American flags placed on the moon are completely white now. Without an atmosphere to speak of, the sun's UV rays have almost certainly bleached away all of the flag's coloring. Some people have even speculated that the flags have completely disintegrated and no longer exist. We don't really know, but either way it's nothing to worry about, because we've left behind plenty of other evidence that is definitely still on the moon. This leads into number 9. Humans have left more than 400,000 pounds of, well, garbage on the surface of the moon. This includes more than 70 decommissioned spacecraft, many of which were only intended to survey and take pictures from orbit, and were then intentionally crashed after completing their mission. But it was the manned Apollo missions in particular that left a long list of strange objects. Strewn about right alongside their various plaques and monuments are tools, scientific instruments, cameras, food wrappers, bags of excrement, and various other items that were not needed for the return trip. All of this adds up, and in the span of just a few decades, we've really made a mess on the moon. Yeah, maybe it's time to call this guy. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up with number 10. In February 2015, the government accidentally sold a bag of moon dust to a Chicago woman for only $995. So this story actually begins back in 2003 when the curator of a museum in Kansas was accused of stealing artifacts on loan to the museum and selling them. So the government raided his house and recovered various items, including this bag of moon dust. Somehow, 12 years later, it inadvertently ended up on a government surplus auction site where lawyer and space enthusiast Nancy Lee Carlson won the auction as the only bidder. Carlson, unsure what she had just bought, sent the object into NASA for identification. NASA identified it to be genuine moon dust collected by Neil Armstrong in 1969. They also claimed that it rightfully belonged to NASA and refused to return it to Carlson. This sparked a lawsuit, and Carlson ultimately sued successfully to have the moon dust returned to her. In the summer of 2017, the bag of moon dust sold for $1.8 million at auction to an undisclosed buyer. So there you have it, the 10 most amazing facts I could find about the moon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay amazing.